Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you and to be the new president of CART. I had big shoes to fill behind Rod. He did such a great job. But what an opportunity to work with Tiffany and all of you for us to make great strides in finding ways to prevent and cure Alzheimer's. And so I know that's what you're all about. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, about how you can be engaged and we can continue the work started by Roger Ackerman so many years ago. So I'm going to turn it back over to Tiffany or to Rod.
Well, good afternoon. We appreciate your being here. This is a training session, and hopefully at the end of the hour, you will think you have been trained. Let me first start with who we are. Who is CART? That's probably a question you should ask yourself so that you can convey it to the clubs and districts that you talk to. CART Fund is a 501(c)(3) organization. It's focused on funding research for Alzheimer's. We do that through grants. We are a volunteer organization, completely and totally dependent upon you as volunteers to help us be successful. We are not a Rotary International project. We partner with Rotary International districts and Rotary International clubs, but we are not a program of Rotary International. I say that explicitly because if one of your folks out there writes a check to Rotary Foundation, we will never see it. So be cognizant of the fact we're not a Rotary International project. We are one of the founding members of ADRAG, which is Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group. And you can find us listed on their website, and you can find a link to them on our website. As Carol alluded to, we were begun in 1995 by a fellow named Roger Ackerman from the Rotary Club of Sumter, South Carolina. And when he introduced the project, he called it CART, Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust. And we are a seed funding organization. In other words, we give a little bit of money to researchers so that they can prove a hypothesis and gather enough data to then go to the deep pocket folks like National Institute of Health or DOD or pharmaceutical companies to get lots of money. We basically are seed funding organization. We plant seeds and we water it a little bit and we hope they will be successful. And thus far, they are those we've given money to have been extremely successful. The very first grant was given in 1999 to Dr. Levy and Dr. Lau of Emory University. 2 years later, in 2001, we gave the second grant to Dr. Carl Harrop and Dr. Landgraf. And ever since then, every single year since 2001, we have given at least one research grant. And we have given away a total, through the history of CART, $13 million. And so you can be proud of that, and you can know that we are looking for the best researchers that we can possibly fund. And we gave away 5 grants this year, 2024, for a total of $1.4 million for those 5. We are made up of a board of directors, which includes 2 voting members from every partner Rotary district. The CART chair and the district governor nominee are the voting members. We also have an executive committee that does the day-to-day decision making. And it's made up of 9 voting members. The president, vice president, secretary, and immediate past president all serve 2-year terms. The other officers do not have term limits, but they include vice president of finance, the treasurer, vice president of public image, vice president of engagement, vice president of grants. And we're all led by our illustrious executive director, Tiffany Irving, who tries to keep us all straight, and we appreciate her immensely. You need to know a little bit about TRAC, T-R-A-C. TRAC is a separate 501(c) organization. It is separate from CART. Donations to TRAC are separate from donations to CART. TRAC funds the administrative expenses of CART. And we operate on a budget. The budget is approved every year at the annual meeting. And we follow that budget very closely. And we are very, very much solvent. We're in good financial shape. And we are looking forward to a tremendous successful year for 24-25. And I'm going to come back in a little bit and give you a little more information. But right now, Michelle, if you would take over and talk about the portal.
Okay, my name is Michelle Gashri-Ellick. I am a regional CART chair as well as a district online administrator. Myself and Terry Weaver, who helped create the portal, are the two volunteers who oversee the portal each day. So when CART began, you're all familiar with the buckets. When it began, people placed donations in the buckets at their meetings. And we still encourage people to do that. We still put the buckets out. It's a great advertisement. People can talk about it. We shake CART buckets at all of our meetings. And sometimes it's a silent shake. So people put dollars in instead of coins, but we always try to have some coins in there. So just before COVID, it became apparent that we needed another way to collect donations. And so the CART portal was created. Okay. The CART portal is not DACDB. It is connected and intertwined, and information comes from DACDB, but you cannot find it on DACDB. So I believe everybody on this call, I hope, has logged in at one point or another to mycartfund.org. And is there anybody who has not? Okay, well, that's the good news. So, and we know that on this call, we have district CART chairs, we have club CART chairs, and we have other members of the DG chain. We have members of the board. We have members outside of the members of Rotary clubs that are on here as well. So some of it that we'll talk about will be relevant to CART chair, district chairs. Some of it will be relevant to club chairs, but it's all relevant to anybody who would like to make a donation in the portal. So Tiffany is going to work with me, and she's going to bring up the CART portal. So we have logged into mycartfund.org. Okay, when you log, and we've logged into Erin Andrews because both Tiffany and I have, on the left-hand side where it says administration, we have like 15 items. So we don't want to confuse anybody. So when you personally log into the CART portal, you log in with your DACDB login and password. Now, I know that that is a challenge for lots of people because every day I get people say, you know, I don't know what that is. I automatically have it. I don't know what my passwords are. So I encourage if they would take a minute to go back, log into DACDB, write down their login, write down their password, and then come back and go to mycartfund.org. When you sign in and see, it says, welcome Erin Andrews. It should say, welcome your name. And then you know that you were in the right place. Okay, we're going to go quickly. We're going to just briefly see a few. On the left-hand side is the CART navigation. Okay, we have our home page. We have make a contribution, my contributions. We have my profile, my club goals, which we're going to touch on shortly, reports, which we've talked about before, help. Now, if you need help and log out. If you need help, I cannot see it here, but there is a phone number on the right-hand corner of the screen. That phone number is my phone number. So feel free, I'm a volunteer, but feel free to call me and I will be happy to help you. Can we see that? Or you can enter your request. If you submit a request to CART, that will also come to me for portal help. But we're going to just quickly go to like make a contribution. So there's several contributions that you're going to make. You're going to say, I personally want to make a contribution, or I am making a club contribution. Now, I want you to remember, I'm going to step back for 1 second. I want you to remember that if you make a personal contribution for yourself or anyone that we're going to choose in this list, even though you say it's personal, it will be credited to your club. So a lot of times I'll get a contribution that says club and I know that it's the person that made it. So I might text you or send you an email and say, was this supposed to be personal? And you'll automatically say, I wanted it credited to my club. And I'll say, automatically it will be credited to your club. You will get contributions for your club. If you are a district CART chair, you will possibly make a district contribution. We're going to look at personal right now, Tiffany. Is that okay? or club, which one you want to go to, whichever you decide. You go personal. Okay, come down here and it says enter partial username. Okay, well, she hasn't made a contribution before. That's a good example. So we're going to go add her. If she had made a contribution before, she would come down from a drop-down list so that you could choose her. So then we're going to add a new user, and it will come up with DACDB, and we're in District 6920, and we'll put her name there. And you see where her name comes up, we'll choose Joy Chandler Simpson. And then it says login name, okay. You'll press add user. So now when you go back to make a contribution, come back to make a contribution personal, her name comes up, you choose her name, you put the amount in, and then we'll come down. Here's where some questions. So is it a one-time contribution? Is she going to make contributions every month? You see the drop-down box. You can select one time, you can select monthly, you can select quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. If you make a recurring contribution, you are then become a member of the Roger Ackerman Circle. So let's say she's going to make it monthly, okay? And we're going to make it as, we're not going to complete it, but we'll make it as a electronic funds transfer. The start date is always the next day, or it can be a month from now, whenever you like. You can also choose an end date. Then you come down to a space that says in honor of or in memory of somebody. If you collect money from your club, someone, God forbid, passed away in your club, and your club has collected money and you want this in honor of this person, and I know we've had that recently, you can put that information in there. And when you provide the information of who we send the acknowledgement to, Tiffany is now handling that. And so an acknowledgement we send to, let's say, Mrs. Smith, and it will say, it is our honor to let you know, it's our privilege to let you know a donation was made in memory of or in honor of this person and who made it. We will also provide them with the address of who made the donation, because if it's a memorial, we don't want them to go through any more problems waiting and figuring out where they have to send it to, or even if it's an honor to. So we provide all that information in that box there, and it automatically comes back to us. Tiffany will send out a card. If we have a question, we'll contact you. You can do this for a club, you can do this for personal, you can do this for a one-time gift or a multiple gift. We're looking at a multiple gift right now. So you want to press continue, Tiffany. And ours is a recurring contribution. And okay, now this is an important screen, because this screen in the right-hand corner tells you that your account will be charged, and it tells you the amount. It has happened where people have put in $1,000 when they mean $10 or $100. We can fix that, but it is a bit more challenging. So I encourage everybody, when you put in a donation, before you process it, please look in the right-hand corner and make sure that amount is correct. And then it's going to ask you routing number and account number. The one thing to look out there is if it's a check, I always go to the check number and look down on the bottom of the check and see where those numbers are. Sometimes they're at the beginning and sometimes they're at the end. But occasionally people have used that check number as their routing number. So you will put in a routing number, your account number, what account type it is, the name that's on the check, the address, the billing information. Don't press submit, Tiffany. And then you would press submit. And when you press submit, you will get a receipt. Now, if Erin had just made a club contribution, the receipt would be in Erin's name, and on the bottom, it would say the club. If Erin put in a check on behalf of someone, the receipt would have that person's name and email address on it.
Michelle, it's just a comment. Just wanted everybody to know that the information that was saved for that payment is not stored anywhere in DACDB or in the CART portal. it is only saved at the processor.
Correct. And that is very good information, Chris. Thank you for reminding me of that. Because when people come back and say, well, can't you enter a new contribution for me? Or what can you do for me? We cannot do that because the information, we don't have your information. Okay, so there's various reports that you can use. Contribution history, club goal setting, district goal setting, CART club, district. Some of these you'll have access to, some of them you won't. You may not have access to recurring EFT subscription report. You don't have access to memorials and honorariums. But if you wanted to look at your club goals, I think it's over there. Okay, as a district CART chair, if you go to club goal setting, you have access to all the clubs in your district. And on this list, you can see how much they've given in the past, and you can help them set their goals. So you can see best prior year per cap, best year. This is the place where you really have a report that you can use. It gives you the club size as well. In the right-hand corner, I believe it says create club goals. So here are your club goals for Milledgeville. Each district governor has their own club goals for CART, for international projects and polio. So if you come down, let's say our district governor is $45 per cap. So if you put in the per cap goal of $45, it will automatically calculate your club goal according to your club size. So there are district CART chairs in the past that have gone through each club and selected a goal for them. Now, what happens is there are clubs that bring in much more money than their goals. So it's a two-sided sword. But then there are clubs in your district that haven't brought in donations for CART before. So you could go in and set those for them and let them know. And they're related to what the district governor's goals are. So that is how you set your CART goal entry report. And I always do this. I'm sorry.
Michelle, this is Andy.
Yes.
One thing, when I did that yesterday, I went into, I'm a district CART chair, everyone. I went into my club, set their goals. You just have to make sure you hit the save button in the right-hand side, because I didn't, and I had to, like, on a few of them, and had to go back and go back and go back. So, but just make sure everybody hits that save button.
And that was their goal for this month for Tiffany, to go back and.
I'm not saving this one. That's where you click save, but this is someone else's club. I'm not changing their club goals today, but that's where you would do it. You would calculate it down here and then scroll back to the top and click save.
Okay, so the most important thing to remember is that if you are a district CART chair, I make sure that you are a level 6 at least. If you're a club CART chair, you're a level 4. You might have a club CART chair come in and say, you know, I can't see anything. I can't see my clubs. Let me know and I can change their levels. Best practices: money orders and brokerage checks cannot be deposited into the CART portal. So they can be sent to the CART post office box, or they can be sent to Tiffany. Either way, they will get processed and thanked, but money orders and brokerage checks cannot be processed in the portal. Donations over $10,000 cannot be processed in the portal. Those donations also have to be deposited into the Wells Fargo Bank. Make sure you use the right routing and account numbers. Make sure you provide online reports to whoever needs them. I used to provide a monthly report to all the clubs, and I would let all the clubs see how much each club was giving. And I know Tiffany has some plans to do some contests and things along the way. And so those reports are very helpful. Always say thank you. The one thing that happens is if you make a personal donation and there's an email address, that person will get a thank you. If you make a donation on behalf of a club, if you're a district CART chair and a club sends you a check and you make that donation, a thank you will not go to that club. So I used to, as when I was district CART chair, I would just send them a copy of the receipt that I got, circle their club name and say thank you. They can go into the portal and find out what it is, but they will not get an automatic receipt. There's a lot of things that the portal can do. And if you have any questions, I mean, it's too much really to go over. If you have any questions, I know I've spoken to most of you here and help with questions. We can fix just about anything as long as we know about it. Occasionally, we do have challenges. I ask you to be patient with that. And remember that we're volunteers, but we're here to help.
And there are some printed handouts that I'll be sharing with you later that we'll make sure you have access to as well. Thank you, Michelle. All right, we're going to move on to Rod now.
I'm tasked with giving you some best practices for your performance as a district chair or a club chair or whatever your role is in terms of promoting CART. So let me start by asking you to share your Alzheimer's story. Every one of you has an Alzheimer's story. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here volunteering to help us. And so share that story with people. That makes a tremendous difference. It gives you credibility in terms of talking about Alzheimer's and talking about why you want to raise money for research. And so don't be shy about sharing your story. I include a story about Alzheimer's in every single presentation that I make, and I encourage you to do the same. Secondly, we encourage you to create a relationship with all of the district governor chain in your district. There's a lot of reasons for that, but let me just give you 3 or 4. One, the district governor chain needs to know what you're doing and why you're doing it and why CART's important to the district. And the best way to do that is to get to know the district governor chain. Secondly, ask the district governor chain if you could have space in their newsletter to promote CART and promote Alzheimer's research. And ask the district governor chain if you can be included in any kind of district meeting that would allow you a few minutes to promote CART. You don't have to be a 20-minute presentation, but a few minutes to promote CART is wonderful at any kind of a district meeting. Anytime you gather district folks together, there's an opportunity there to promote CART. Also, ask your district governor chain if they would include in their budget some money to help you with expenses, as well as an annual district contribution to track. We have a few districts that give us about $300 a year from their district governor budget to help with the track expenses. And we would love to expand that number to other districts. And so if you can put a bug in your district governor's ear or district governor-elect's ear, the elect probably is the more important person because that person has not created their budget yet. So put that on your to-do list. Another suggestion from us is to create a committee. Committees of one are rarely as effective as committees of several. If you have several folks on your committee, you have lots of fresh ideas that you wouldn't have from just a single person. You can share the workload, and we ask you to just create a committee for CART in your district. In my district, I have a club CART chair in almost every club, and I have a club CART advocate who functions almost like an assistant governor. And that way we share the workload and we share the opportunity to promote CART in lots and lots of venues and lots of areas. My district has a huge geography, and we need that just to cover the clubs. Next, we encourage you to communicate with your clubs and districts. Let them know about CART meetings. For instance, Tiffany just mentioned to you the conversation meeting that's coming up. We have a lunch and learn meeting every month. There are lots of opportunities to learn about what CART does and learn about what the researchers are doing. And we encourage you to promote those at your clubs and districts. Also, if you would promote the CART newsletter. Now, Tiffany hasn't mentioned it yet, but I'm sure she will at the end. The CART newsletter is wonderful. One just went out this week, but you have to subscribe. We can't push it out to you unless you voluntarily tell us that you want it. And so encourage people to sign up for that newsletter. It's free, by the way, and it's very useful. We encourage you also to do presentations about CART at your clubs and at your districts. There is a generic presentation PowerPoint on the website, which we invite you to download and adjust for your personal use. It is very generic, and it is worthwhile you're downloading it and playing with it and adjusting it to make it your presentation. It needs a little updating right now, but that's okay. We'll get there. But we want you to make presentations about CART. Last year, Tiffany and I each made about 60 or so. But we can't get around to all the clubs ourselves, so we need your help. But if you're going to make presentations, we would love to know when and where. We'd like to include that on our CART calendar, just so we can advertise the fact that you're making a presentation for CART. During your presentations, talk about the buckets and talk about the portal. Talk about ways to get involved with CART. Talk about the recurring donor program, and talk about why we collect the money and what we spend it on. There are plenty of reports in the portal that Michelle just mentioned, and they're available to you, and they're available to your club chairs, and they're available to clubs, and they would help the clubs understand how much money they've given historically, and any information we can provide, we believe will be positive. And I'm going to end by giving you a challenge. Every month in our CART Conversations meeting, Tiffany throws out a challenge. So I thought I would just throw one out tonight to you. Would you, as a district CART chair, put on your to-do list for 24-25 to find one individual major donor in your district to contribute to CART? One new major donor for your district. Now, before somebody asks what's a major donor, that's what you have to figure out, because we have some districts where the largest donation last year was $200. We have some districts out there where the largest donation was $20,000 or $1 million. So you need to look at your district and figure out what a major donor is for your district and get us a new major donor. I think that would be wonderful. And the way to do that is simply talk to people about what we do. Talk to people why it's important to raise money for research. Talk to people about what we do with the money. And I'm going to come back in a little bit and tell you about grants, and that's what we do with the money. But the one thing I want to leave you with is 100% of everything donated to CART goes to research. And there are not many 501(c)(3)s that can say that, but we can. So Tiffany?
Thank you, Rod. That was the perfect introduction to what I'm going to be sharing with you guys tonight, because we do have the new PowerPoint and it is ready to unveil to you all tonight. But I want to get to one other thing before I get to that. I wanted to mention much of what you've heard so far tonight from Rod and Michelle is in something that we created called a district chair handbook. We also have one that is specifically written for club chairs, if you are a club chair. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys right now and just quickly show you the district chair handbook, because I will email it to you after the fact. But I want to at least show you that you're going to be getting this, and it's going to talk about all of these things that you heard tonight, that it's got some statistics for you and things like that. And so it's going to talk about some of the partners that we want you as a district chair to work with. And some of those are your district leaders. And as Rod mentioned that already, but also the district public image team, also your district awards team, your district finance committee, your district conference chair. All of these are folks that you can work with. And then also with club leaders, as he mentioned, recruiting a CART chair in each club or area assistants and things like that, creating a committee list in DACDB. And we're going to be sharing with you all at one of our upcoming monthly conversation calls. For those who don't know how to do that, we have someone coming on behalf of DACDB to share that information with you guys. providing training for your club chairs, inviting them to these opportunities, scheduling presentations, providing supply of the little blue buckets, emailing them and giving them updates on totals, encouraging them to make their donations online. That certainly makes things go quicker and easier, and it ensures that the correct credit is given to the right clubs and the right individuals and the right districts. If you have a check that is mailed, and Michelle mentioned earlier, there is a P.O. box in Sumter. If you mail a check to Sumter, it will get deposited. The money will go in the bank without question, and it will eventually also get noted to the correct club and the correct district. But the fastest and easiest way to know that it is going into your club or district's totals is to do it online, and that way we can it automatically calculates the total giving, the per capita, all of that. You might encourage some of your clubs that are looking for honorariums for their speakers or memorials for loved ones who passed to use CART as that option. And of course, we want each of you to enroll as a recurring donor and become a member of what you heard earlier, the Roger Ackerman Circle. And that is someone who enrolls as a recurring gift of a minimum of $5 a month or $60 a year. And as you saw during Michelle's presentation, that can be monthly, quarterly, or annually. So we encourage you to think about that. And then we also, as Michelle mentioned earlier, we want you to send thank you notes and communicate as well. We also want you to consider us to be your partners. We want you to attend our monthly meetings. There are 2 of those every month. That is the CART Conversations call, which is on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 5:30 using this exact same Zoom link that you had tonight. And those are on our calendar as well. And also Lunch a la carte, which is a monthly presentation of a various researcher who comes back and gives us an update on their research and the status of Alzheimer's and dementia statistics. And Anne was asking a question in the chart about most recent statistics on Alzheimer's, the disease. And you can get that monthly. We're hearing that from some of our former researchers. Also, I wanted to let you know that as a district chair, you have the opportunity to select one volunteer of the year for your district, and we call that the Changemaker Award. It is simply a visual. Some districts choose to do an actual award, and if you'd like to do that, we're fine with that as well, but we're happy to provide the visual, the certificate for you, if you just let me know who it's going to be and when you're going to be presenting it. And then, of course, we ask that you follow us on social media, share any of our things as available. And then also in this guidebook and handbook that you'll be getting are some contact information for folks as well. The website has the most up-to-date list for our board members of our executive committee and our regional directors, and you can always find that updated there. And then we do have some new branding and a mood board, if you will, where we show you, and I'm going to give this to each of you. It tells you the correct fonts that you should be using if you're creating graphics. It gives you copies of our logos and the colors, the PMS colors that you should be using as well. And again, I'm going to provide this with you guys so you'll have it as well. And then there's also an entire page that you could use if you would like to share with folks on how to sign up to become a member of the Recurring Donor Program, a member of the Roger Ackerman Circle. So this is the handbook that we will send to each of you after the fact. There is a similar one for club CART chairs as well. So I know some of you have already said in the chat or to me personally that you are a club chair new wanting to learn more, and I will make sure that you get copies of that. I'll also give it to the district chairs, and that way they can send it out to all of their club chairs as well. So that handbook and guidebook is really important. I wanted to also introduce someone to you tonight who is on the call, and that is Aisha. She is joining us from the DC, Virginia area. And Aisha is a student. She is studying for her master's in public health, and she is going to be our intern for the next 6 months. And she is going to be working very closely with us to complete some really important projects it's all class course credit for her. And she and I have been working together for several months now, getting ready for her class to begin. And I think today is actually her first official day as an intern. I told her on our call last week, I felt so bad. We had a Zoom call on Thursday and we got off the call and I realized it was National Intern Day. And I didn't tell her, I didn't get to recognize her. We just missed it by a few days, but we're going to recognize her a lot in the next 6 months because we're very excited to have her with us. And you'll be hearing more about what she's working on in the months to come. You also heard some folks allude to the fact that we do a monthly challenge, and Rod issued you a challenge for now, just to catch some of you up in case you missed the July meeting. The monthly challenge challenge for our district chairs for the month of July was to make sure there are goals entered in the portal, so that we know we have something to work towards. And it might be checking with your district governor to find out if they've set a goal, and it might be working with them to create one, and it might be just coming up with what you believe is really feasible in your district. And as Michelle said and showed you guys, you can enter it yourself. I think Andy did that as a new district chair in her district. She literally went in and did it for every club in her district based on what the district governor had said was their goal. But you can also encourage the clubs to do their own as well. And as you heard, some of them will do more and some may do less, but that's a great place to start. There is you also heard them mention about recognizing donors and things like that. I'm excited to announce that there is a new committee that's been formed that is going to be creating some new donor recognition and appreciation, various levels of support for both recognition and donations to the CART Fund, but also to TRAC that you heard Rod mention as well, which is our operating expense separate nonprofit. And we are going to be doing some recognition of individual donors so that they have naming opportunities and things like that. But we're also creating some friendly competition amongst our clubs and districts. And beginning on August 1st, you will start seeing a post at the beginning of every month on our social media. We're going to start recognizing a leaderboard every month with the top 3 clubs and total giving and per capita, and the top 3 districts in total giving and per capita. We hope that this will encourage you to remind your clubs to not wait till June to send their money in. If they are sitting on money in their checking account, there's no reason not to go ahead and go online and deposit it. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost a 60-cent stamp. There's no fee to do it online. So we want to make sure that folks go ahead and make those donations as you collect them, either in little blue buckets or matching donors or fundraisers or events or whatever the case may be. And this will be a way for us to monitor that and recognize people as well. Kevin mentioned earlier in the chat, he asked the question about ADRAG champions, and I wanted to address that before I move on. For those who are not familiar with ADRAG, it stands for the Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group. It is one of many action groups that are part of Rotary International, and that is actually our connection to Rotary International. That the CART Fund was one of the founding partners of this action group. An email went out earlier today, maybe this weekend, to district governors asking them to select a district advocate, a district champion, a district ambassador to serve on behalf of representing ADRAG in their district. We should remember that there are 525 districts around the world. The number may be plus or minus a few right now. And every district in the world does not have CART, but many of them do. And so what we believe is that if you, as a district that supports CART, you may not also need an ADRAG ambassador. I'm not going to tell you not to do one because that is certainly not our cause. We are very involved in ADRAG. The 2 of the executive committee members are also involved with CART as well, but it's not as important because that's what they're pushing. If you want to have an ambassador, we are fine with that. That's a great partnership that we have. But if that's going to be the case, we hope that they work together to make sure that they understand the 2 distinct organizations, because ADRAG is really a lot of publicity and public awareness and advocacy, and it promotes all of the organizations. And we want to make sure that if you, as a district CART chair, are promoting CART, that your message does not get lost, that your message does not get confused with trying to promote 2 different organizations. And I'm happy to chat individually with folks if they have questions about that, or if you as a district CART chair have gotten questions from your district governor. I've already addressed it with one over the weekend. So I know that that is out there. And I think that we certainly are supportive of ADRAG. We are proud to be one of their founding partners and still active and involved with it. But I think that is really geared towards those districts that maybe don't already have a CART presence. So if there's no questions about that, I would like to share with you the new PowerPoint to show you what we are going to be providing. And it is not updated on the website yet, but it will be very soon. I'm just going to leave it in this mode so that you guys can see as I go through. But the new presentation for this year uses some new branding materials that we're using. And the new presentation this year is called From Pocket Change to Lasting Change. And you're going to be given the ability to download this presentation from our website. And then you can go in and edit it, and you can put in your name and your district 7680 chair or district 7730 or whatever your district or your club. You can say, Susan Graves, Walhalla Rotary Club, cart chair, whatever the case may be. And you will be able to customize it. If you want to add a page in there to include information about your personal story, you are certainly welcome to do that as well. There will be the next page talks about the About Us. And it's a lot of those things that you heard Rod talk about at the beginning, that we were founded by one Rotarian in Sumter, South Carolina. And the fact that we grew from one Rotarian to one club, to one district, to one state, and then to one zone, and then to 2 zones, and now across the country really does speak volumes about our organization. It also explains that what we do is provide seed grants. There are a lot of amazing Alzheimer's based organizations out there, and we are a partner. The Alzheimer's Association is actually one of the other members of ADRAG with us, and we are very supportive of what they do. They do the walks, they raise a lot of money, they give money in a lot of different areas, from advocacy to education to caregiver support, but we only fund research, and only to researchers in the United States. And of course, we always want to focus on the fact that 100% of everything that we raise does go directly to research, and that this year we topped $13 million in amount raised. And I'm going to be giving you, along with this PowerPoint, some notes that you can use. There's additional things that might be here. And these are some statistics that you can share, talking about the action group again, the number of districts and clubs that we were supported by in last fiscal year. There's the web address for the donor portal, which is mycartfund.org, and it does talk about track so that you can explain that. Because what we hear is that a lot of folks ask questions. Well, how can you fund operating at all if 100% of everything that you raise goes directly to research? And people question whether we're really doing that, and we absolutely are. We receive money from track based on some investment funds, but also some designated gifts, some planned gifts, and some foundations that make gifts for that purpose. There are also people that make gifts there because that's something they believe in, and also some people who have fundraisers specifically for that or make designated gifts. So we're very clear. We want to make sure that when you're sharing our message, that we also get that message out. We have a couple of grant highlights on there that we want to make sure that you're welcome to share about the year that we exceeded $1 million in contributions in 2019, when we gave away $1 million for the first time. The 2 most recent milestones for us: in April of 2023, we received $1 million gift for the first time, the largest gift ever given to the CART Fund, from one Rotarian in North Carolina. And we are very grateful for that. And as Rod said, with that challenge of finding another major donor, there are other $1 million donors out there that may like to do that. And we do have the ability now to do some naming opportunities for grants and things like that we'll be rolling out in the next few months. And then, of course, the best highlight is from this year, where because we had raised so much money, we were able to fully fund all of the top 5 grants that were selected by our review committee at a total of $1.4 million. We also want to give you this information that you can share. These are the recipients from this past year. There were 3 of them at $300,000 each, and then 2 of them at $250,000 each. This is their photos, their names, their research facilities. And then again, in your notes that we're going to share with you, we'll give you a little short, artificially intelligent written blurb that you can use that hopefully will make a little bit of sense to you. It still doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to lie, but it's very complicated, and we don't want to share anything that is not something that we try to explain it on our own, because we don't want to misrepresent anything that they're doing, but we want you to be able to share who they were this year. This slide simply talks about how we started with little blue buckets. And I wanted to let you guys know that those little blue buckets are never going to go away. We are getting a new shipment of them in the next 2 to 3 weeks. They should be arriving. So if you need little blue buckets for clubs in your district, feel free to reach out to me. And as soon as they come in, I'll be shipping those out. The good news about those is there is no charge to clubs to provide those little blue buckets. So you, as a district chair, if you would like to keep a small supply of those on hand because you're going out visiting clubs or you're going to be at district events and your district governor has said it's okay to give those out, I can send you more than just a few. I'm going to have 3,000. I'll be happy to send you as many as you would like. But some clubs, obviously, because people don't have money on them anymore, or cash or change, sometimes clubs don't put little blue buckets out. The beauty of the little blue bucket is the original reason that it was created was because it was never intended to compete with or take money away from other Rotary Foundation projects like polio, or even those projects that you're doing in your community to do some good locally. We didn't ever, that's the way that Roger Ackerman founded this organization, where it would not be a competitor, it would actually be an attraction. And what we have found is that there are people all over the country in our Rotary clubs that don't even know that Alzheimer's is something that people are working on in Rotary. So those little blue buckets can be a big help to have out on the tables. But if your clubs don't want to do that, that's okay too. There are a lot of other ways they can give. We have these little small cart cups that we call them. They are just stadium cups. We do not provide those free of charge, but they are available for purchase on our website. I'm going to be showing you some other things on the website in just a minute. But some people do jars. They give those out to their members to take home. They bring them in on a quarterly basis and do a big coin drop. Some clubs do events or fundraisers. They have recurring donors, obviously, or major gifts and planned gifts. I want to share this with you guys. Some of you have heard this story already. Many of you have not, but this is a painting of forget-me-nots that was done by Rotarian. His name just left me, George Lewis, in Venice, Nokomis, Florida, in District 6960. He is a fabulous Rotarian and a great painter, and he has created this print, this original painting of forget-me-nots. And he has offered it. We are using the original to create some new branding items that you're going to be seeing. But he is also going to offer it to anyone that would like an original of their own. He will paint it. I believe it's $150, and he will donate the money that you pay for the painting back to the CART Fund. All of the information on that is on our website, and also in some of the newsletters that you've seen. It'll continue to be shared on a regular basis. But this is something you can share when you go out to your clubs. If someone would like to purchase one as an auction item or as a gift or to hang in their office or even in their house, they can go directly to George to purchase that, and he will make a donation to CART. We also have this slide that can be customized for you. We want to say thank you when we go out and do our presentations. And if you're a district chair and you want to put the total amount of giving last year for your entire district, or if you want to find out what your club did last year for club giving, you can pull that from the portal, as Michelle was showing you earlier, and you can customize that slide to show what the total giving has been. This slide will allow them, if they would like to hold their phone up while you're on at the podium talking, they can scan that QR code. It'll take them directly to our website where they can get more information as well. And then we also want you to share with them information about the lunch a la carte that you heard me mention earlier. This graphic is specifically for the one that is coming up in August. I don't know that you're going to want to change you may not want to change your presentation every month with the new one, but if you want to, those will always be available on our Facebook page and on our website that you can download and save and change. Or you can just use this one as an example and tell them where to find it by going to cartfund.org to the calendar page, and they can always find those there. And then the final page of your slide is how they find us online. From our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our Twitter/X, and our LinkedIn page. And one of Aisha's new projects that she's going to be getting started on right away is creating a new Instagram page for us as well. And then we have the two websites as well, cartfund.org for more information and mycartfund.org for donations. So this PowerPoint presentation will be shared with everyone. We're so excited. Any questions about that before I go to show you one more thing on the website? Let me double check the chats over here. Andy asked about hashtags. We do use hashtag #TheCartFund, and we put that on the PowerPoint for you as well. And I want to show you, for those who have not been there lately, the CART Fund website, which has had some improvements to it recently, but there are a lot more coming. So I encourage you to stay tuned for that. But I wanted to let you know a couple of things. Number one, you asked about how to find people. The board of directors is right here. And one click, you can contact Carol Burdett, or one click, you can contact your regional director here by with an email. So all of that is on the website. Also on the grants page, people always ask us, what have we learned from our grants? We do ask our grant recipients to give us quarterly reports, which we do not publish, but they have to do a final report, and we share that information on our website, and you will see that under research results, and you can read about some of the projects that have been funded by CART over the years, and all of those are on there for you. The other thing on the website I really wanted to point out was the calendar. And if you go to the calendar page, you can easily find the links to all of the meetings that I mentioned earlier. And one click will open it up for you, and you will get the Zoom link, you'll get the agenda, you'll get the description, and you even get at the bottom of the screen a way to register. So all of that is on the calendar page. And then the other page is resources. And that's where you're going to be able to download all of the things I've been talking about tonight, including the new PowerPoint presentation that'll go up in the next day or so, and you'll be able to download it. And there is a page called CART Merchandise. And we have partnered with Civic Swag, who is a Rotary licensed vendor. But remember, CART is not a Rotary International program. So we do not use the Rotary cog as part of our logo, but you will see all of the great merchandise that is available for CART. There's going to be new items coming soon. I cannot wait to share some of those things that are coming up, but there are the stadium cups that we mentioned as well. There's lapel pins. There is tote bags and journals and notebooks, and the tablecloths if you want one for a display, or a pop-up banner, or a tabletop banner, and clothing. All of that is there on our website. And if there is something that you wish we had but you have not seen it yet, please just let us know. We will work with Erin and her crew to get that for you. If you would like to order something with the CART logo on it that you can then order in bulk and then sell as a fundraiser, we have something coming up for that as well that we're going to be sharing with you soon. And all of those, we're happy to work with individual clubs and districts that want to do something. So Andy just asked me about the annual meeting, and that is a work in progress. We do not have a date for next year's annual meeting. We actually have a meeting scheduled with our scientific review panel and our vice president of grants to, we're looking at totally revamping the concept of our annual meeting. We will still have it. You will still be invited. There will still be researchers there, but we're looking at new and improved ways to make it more accessible and more interesting and all of those things. So you'll be hearing more about that as we go on. The next question I just saw, I'm trying to answer these questions for you guys. A standard blurb to be submitted to each district newsletter. You can always copy and paste anything that's on our website or that comes out in our newsletter. That's probably the easiest way to do it, because we try to write those in newsletter form. And old roll-up banners. If it has the Rotary cog as part of the CART logo, then we ask that you please not use those, because technically, as I mentioned, we are not a Rotary International partner. We should not be using the Rotary cog next to the old CART logo. So the answer is unfortunately not. We changed the logo. It's now been a couple of years, and we understand that there are still people using the old Rotary logo as well, even though that's been like 10 years or something now. But we are hoping that folks will try to use the new logo. We have provided those pop-up banners to our division directors, and so they have them that can be shipped around and borrowed and used. We also have a couple of those tablecloths as well, and so if you're having an event and you want to borrow it for a district conference or a district assembly or training, we're happy to work out a way to get that to you. Let me know. Check with your district, your division chair, and if you are a district chair and you don't know who your division chair is, you're going to be hearing from them soon. I assure you, you will get to know them very well, because they are the go-between to help me so that I'm not working with all of the 40 district chairs. They're divided up into 8 different divisions. Rod, I'm going to go back to you to do our last section quickly, and then we will wrap up and see if anyone has any other questions.
Yeah. You've heard several times tonight that we raise money specifically to fund research grants. So let me just tell you what the process is. Dr. Gary Goforth in Florida tells the administration for our grant process. He sends out letters by way of postal and email in July and again in October, inviting researchers to apply for grants. We send that to every single institution that we know of in the U.S. that's doing Alzheimer's research, and that's a whole bunch of them. Those applications are due December 1st to Gary. Now, when Roger Ackerman started this organization, he very much wanted to separate those of us who collect the money and the folks who decide where the money should go. And so we have a terrific, renowned research panel made up of 3 researchers, Dr. Alan Levy, Dr. Julie Snyder, and Dr. Carl Harrell. And they get all these applications and they wade through them and they narrow the field to between 12 and 15 every year. They go back to those 12 to 15 finalists and ask for additional information. The second application is about 20 pages. The first is about 4. They wade through the expanded applications and determine which ones have the best possibility of success as research projects. And around March the 1st, they present to the executive committee those recommendations in order. And they summarize each project and why they put it on the recommended list. And we fund as many of those as we have money in hand March the 1st. And so I stress that because if you have a club that waits until June to send us a check, then their money goes into the following year's grant presentations. And so hence, that's the difference between the 1.4 we gave away in May and the $2 million we raised for the year. We got a whole bunch of money between March 1st and June 30th. And we're thrilled with that. But the sooner in the year you can get your money in, the better. The finalists are notified. Congratulations, you are going to be award a grant from the CART Fund, and here's how much. And they're invited to attend the May annual meeting, whatever date that happens to turn out to be, in order to present to us a presentation summary of their project. And let me tell you, once the date is put down, you need to put that on your calendar because that is a wonderful opportunity to hear from the researchers and understand what it is that we're funding. And of course, those that didn't get it, they'll get a letter that says, I'm sorry you didn't get it this year, but please apply next year. It's a terrific process. It works very well. As Tiffany alluded to a while ago, in May, they get 1/4 of the research grant. 8 months later, they submit a project report to us and they get another 1/4, et cetera, et cetera. And so it basically takes a while for them to get the entire money. But the final report that they submit has to be publishable to the public. And that will go on our website. So thank you very much. Tiffany, your turn.
All right, thank you. Yes, you'll be hearing more about the annual meeting as that process gets revamped this year. I want to remind you that the seminar, the learning session tonight, that's the new term that Rotary is using, is learning, is being recorded. We will upload it to our YouTube channel. I encourage you to follow all of our social media accounts. That is Instagram, which will be coming soon, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel because you'll be able to get loads of information that you can share.